you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K,
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur.
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement, et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens, leur 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida TV. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro on this Tuesday, July 8th. We got a great show lined up for you. Nicolas Cloutier of TV Sport had a chance to sit down with one of the directors of amateur scouting for the Montreal Canadiens, Martin Lapointe, and they talked about a lot of things. They talked about a lot of prospects, and Nick is going to fill us in on their conversation. Zach Fucale, former Montreal Canadien, will join us during the podcast as well. He has a pretty cool event lined up, which is going to feature many NHLers, former NHLers, shootout specialists. And by the way, speaking of Montreal Canadiens, guess who's going to take part in Zach Fucale's event? Ivan Demidov. Zach Fucale's had a chance to break bread with Ivan Demidov. He's going to talk to us a little bit about him as well. But first and foremost, I'm going to talk to you about the people that make the Sick Podcast possible for you to watch it absolutely for free. Unlike others who ask you for a membership or Patreon and all that stuff, one of them is Energy Transportation Group. They're a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different. They're a top fleet employer, and they've been with us for a very, very long time. And we thank them, Mike Cinquino, Sean Gerard, David Grassi, the entire team. It's a great place to work. Check out shipenergy.com. Another is Playground. 3 tasty reasons to visit the Rail. Monday as of 4 p.m., dive into 2 lobster tails for just $22, served with rice, veggies, garlic butter, and a warm biscuit. Thursdays from 4 p.m., sink your teeth into their Surf and Turf special, an 8-ounce New York strip with shrimp fries and pepper sauce for only $19. Fridays from 11:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., enjoy any burger, sandwich, pizza, or main for just $7. All you need is a valid Playground player's card, and it's free. Details this good are worth the trip at Playground, of course. And see that fridge? La Bittt Tibi. It's splashed all over that fridge. And inside that fridge, you'll find a lot of La Bittt Tibi cans. And they launched their new Ultra Lager. It's a refreshing, thirst-quenching beer, perfect for the summer. Only 90 calories for those of you who are trying to cut down. 2 grams of carbs, 4% ABV per can, available in a pack of 6 and 12 in grocery stores all around the province of Quebec. Ultra light, ultra refreshing. Without further ado, let's get to Nicolas Cloutier of TVA Sport. How are you?
I'm good, Tony, on vacation, so life is good. Yeah.
Well, I very much appreciate taking the time because many in our business, when they're on vacation, they're on vacation. And you know what? They're not going to do podcasts. And I respect that, by the way, because I too wish I had myself some vacation. But I don't, because the podcast goes 12 months a year, but we're not complaining because we appreciate all the support.
Mad respect for that, Tony.
There's a demand for it. And that's why we're there. Else we wouldn't.
Man of the people. You've always been.
Thank you very much. There's, I've been always paying special close attention to your Twitter account.
Yeah.
At N Cloutier TVA. And there's a couple of graphics that we're going to bring up. One is regarding LJ Mooney. And the other one is regarding Vinzenz Rohrer and the draft. If we can bring up both pictures. Okay, perfect. So let's now go back. You had a chance to have a conversation with Martin Lapointe?
Yeah, I went to the Habs Dev camp in Brossard last week, and I had to sit down with Martin Lapointe for about 20-25 minutes. Martin was all smiles. He was very generous. And what I found out pretty much is that, you know what, Tony? I was interested in how the Canadiens were able to snag Alexander Zharovsky in the second round if they had penciled him as a pick in the first round. Because a lot of people tell me, you guys are so quick to call that guy a steal, and if he's so good, like how were they able to snatch him a bit later in the draft? So I dig into that with Martin Lapointe, and basically it's all Nick Bobrov. Nick Bobrov has become quite a competitive advantage for the Habs.
All right. Okay. So, it's funny you said that because it's true. As you know, drafts only time will tell. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And in Montreal, we hear that a lot, right? It's every time a scout from the Montreal Canadiens tells us, you know what, we had that player number 2, we got him number 5, or we believe this player will be a steal of the round, or we had this player going first round, we're able to draft him in the second. Everyone starts saying steal.
Yeah,
but only
they're
time
all
will
of
tell.
famers after the draft,
But there's no doubt that because of Bobrov's tentacles in Russia, the Canadiens, you would think, have an advantage. One, his dad works for SKA.
Yep, Sergei.
Obviously, he and his dad, his network, he's got a huge network there. But, in your digging, what were you able to find when you say it's all Bobrov here when it comes to Russia? What can you tell us?
Well, some NHL teams, as you know, Tony, they don't even have a scout in Russia because of the war that rages on in Ukraine. These GMs have a lot of trouble actually getting there. So the first thing would be like the Habs have a guy that can get there, but also Sergei Bobrov, which is Nick's dad, is there all the time. And Martin admitted to me, Sergei is actually a piece of information we use all the time with our team. Sergei Bobrov gives a lot of intel to Montreal Canadiens, not only Nick. So that's a very valuable source of information just right there. So Lapointe basically admitted to me that the Russian factor is very much a factor in 2025. So when the Habs are going at the draft and they're drafting a Russian kid, well, not only Nick Bobrov was able to be there and get some eyeballs on him, but he gathers so much intel, and he's well respected in Russia. Nick Bobrov is a competitive advantage also because he works so hard and he digs so deep to get that information. So the Habs, as of now, they have access to information that other teams do not have access to, which is why they had Zharovsky ranked probably much higher than these other teams, even though he's seen as a first-round talent. These teams, they might see Zharovsky on tape and say, wow, this guy has wheels, but I mean, we were not able to even see him in person this season. So how can we grab this kid in the first round? That's a risk we're not willing to take. Well, that's not really a problem for the Canadiens as you saw the last draft. So Martin Lapointe, who is like the biggest team guy ever, he will never take credit, basically told me, I'm so happy Nick Bobrov is on my side because how the hell do we draft Alexander Zharovsky if we don't have Nick Bobrov on our staff?
Now, Zharovsky, we know, is a left-handed shot. He's a winger. He can play either wing. He's about 6'1", but he's a very, very lean and skinny 163, which probably is the main factor as to why he played the past season in the MHL, correct?
He did finish in the KHL, though, and he was really good in the playoffs.
Yeah, he did, actually. Well, he played 7 games in the playoffs in the KHL. But so what did they have to say about Zharovsky? We know that they had him going in the first round. We know that they picked him up in the second round, 34th overall. We know that he played with Ufa once again in the MHL. We know that he played 7 playoff games with Ufa Salavat Yulayev in the KHL. We've seen the video. We've seen the highlights. The talent is obvious.
Yeah. So, Tony, another interesting nugget is that Martin Lapointe's condo was 5 minutes away in Florida from the camp that Dan Milstein, which is the agent for pretty much all known Russians in the NHL, or almost. Dan Milstein
Demidov being one of them, by the way. Yes, continue. Yeah,
of course. So every year around after the combine, Dan Milstein holds his own combine in Florida for the Russian prospects eligible for the next NHL draft. And of course, Zharovsky was there. And Martin Lapointe's condo in Florida was like a stone's throw away. So he was able to get there with Nick to see him in person and interview him. And what they say is, and what Martin Lapointe told me is that same thing happened with Demidov, by the way, is that Zharovsky's character stood out throughout the interview. So what he also told me is that sometimes we have intel or info about Russians and we draft them because of that intel. But sometimes we have intel about Russians and we do not draft them because of that intel.
Are they talking about a young player in Philadelphia?
I don't know, man, but you make the call, Tony. But if you ask me, 1 + 1 = 2.
It sounds like that's what he was trying to get at, because obviously, look, and even from yours truly, they came under a lot of criticism for passing up on Michkov, who, by the way, you have to admit, had a very good rookie season. But I will say this, as much as I had some scouts telling me that Michkov was the most talented player available, the Canadiens should have gone for him, as much as I was upset because I like offensive players and I thought that was a game breaker the Canadiens could have used at the time. I will say this, his game is not unanimous to me. There are certain things that I don't like about his game. He's a blue line in player. I mean, he cherry picks a lot. But you know what? There's going to be a nice challenge there for Rick Tocchet to try and mold Michkov into a much better, well-rounded player. Marty St. Louis had a challenge with Cole Caulfield. He's done a tremendous job. He did a tremendous job, Marty St. Louis, I think, with Cole Caulfield. Can Tocchet do the same thing with Michkov? It remains to be seen. Then again, Michkov might just stay a one-dimensional offensive player. And if he does, and he puts up numbers, big numbers, you live with it. But you have to be able to put up big numbers, because if you don't, sometimes it's not worth it. But I look forward to seeing that. But it sounds like Martin Lapointe, look, if they have all this intel and this network in Russia, there's no doubt that many people told Bobrov, buyer beware, stay away from this guy. Because the one thing that we did hear, and we've heard quite often about Michkov, is that his attitude could turn a lot of people off. Yep. Mind you, we heard the right things in Philly this year. I think that his teammates embraced him, but we'll see how that plays itself out.
And the Flyers knew that, by the way. And I mean, it was pretty obvious that Michkov was going to score goals. But if you ask me, Tony, 5 years down the road, are the Habs a more complete team with Demidov and Michkov, or Demidov and Reinbacher? Well, I know the answer, personally.
And your answer is?
Oh, the second, the latter.
Demidov and Reinbacher.
100%. I mean, Michkov, he's going to score goals on the power play, but you have that with Caulfield, don't you? When you're building a team, you build a team to win games. You need all these kinds of ingredients. I mean, you kind of have that ingredient in Cole Caulfield, right? So you have that goal-scoring ability on the power play, on 5-on-5, and 5-on-5 Michkov. I'm still unsure, by the way. So I feel like you're pretty much covered with Caulfield, with that type of player. So I would much rather have, and you've seen that first wave of power play with all the kids against Washington at the end of that series, Tony. I think they're pretty much covered. Okay, they don't need Michkov on that group. So the missing piece for me was Reinbacher, not Michkov. You need that right shot D that's stable, that can stabilize the play 5-on-5.
So to this day, today, right now, Tuesday, July 8th, you remain convinced that David Reinbacher will definitely be a top four for a very long time in the National Hockey League, and probably Lane Hutson's defense partner down the road.
You know what? People would hate me for this, but like I would still take Reinbacher over Michkov.
And you got to
if he remains healthy. Yeah.
Hey, I respect that opinion. I don't have a problem with it. All right, okay. Marinaro, a shout out to Betway. Go all the way with Betway and get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses. Scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the details section to create an account. Redeem your welcome offer. Offer is only available for new customers. There are terms and conditions that apply. The offer is not available in Ontario. Must be 18 years of age and older. And please play responsibly. All right, okay. Out of all the things that you guys talked about, one of the things you talked about as well, of course, was LJ Mooney.
Oh, yeah.
LJ Mooney was drafted in the 4th round by the Montreal Canadiens. He was drafted 113th overall, played with the U.S. National Development Team. He's a center on the small side, 5'7", about 162 pounds. And, the Canadiens had a lot of luck with a small player this past season. A little bit taller, probably about 5'8.5", 5'9", about 162-pound Lane Hudson, who ended up having a season of 6 goals, 60 assists, 66 points, won the Rookie of the Year, was a fantastic defenseman for the Canadiens this season. And they're hoping that LJ Mooney, somewhere down the line here, is going to have a similar impact that Hudson did. But as a forward, what did you find out about Mooney, and why did he slide to the 4th round? Was it just because he's a small player?
So I don't like to assume like all other teams are dumb and the Avs made another steal. I don't like to drink the Kool-Aid. Before calling a prospect a steal, I do my research. So I called people, like talked to Martin Lapointe about this. So basically, there's 3 reasons why LJ Mooney slipped to the Avs. So at the beginning of the season, he had a serious knee injury, which impacted his mobility on the ice. And as you know, Tony, when a smaller player doesn't skate like an elite, doesn't have elite skating abilities, it cools off scouts a bit, because when you're smaller, you need to be a heck of a good skater, which wasn't always the case with Mooney, because when he came back to play, he was still hampered by that injury that he suffered at the beginning of the season. Well, the second one would be that the Stanley Cup. Oh my God, the Stanley Cup! It was hard, it was violent out there. It was mean, and the scouts, the image of the the Stanley Cup, it remains in the memory of the scout. It's pretty much it pretty much marks them. So
everyone takes a look at who wins the Stanley Cup, and they say, okay, that has to be the template. The Florida Panthers are winning with a big, strong team, finishing their checks, nasty, hard-hitting, intimidating, and that's the template.
It's a copycat league, Tony. So when these teams see what the Panthers are doing and it's working, well, they copy. They copy the same model. So they take these little pests. So yeah, of course, Sam Bennett's cross checks might have helped the Avs a bit there. The third reason would be he's a smaller player, but he gets hit a lot. And scouts don't like that, because smaller players, they're supposed to be that much elusive. And so you don't see Cole Caulfield or Lane Hudson being hit a lot, don't you, Tony?
Not only elusive, they've been small their entire lives.
Yes, so exactly.
They've had to use their hockey brain.
Yeah.
They've exercised it so much. It's made them such an intelligent hockey player that they know where the puck is going to go. They know when the hit is coming. They know how to protect themselves. They know how to get out of situations. They're supposed to be able to deal with this because of all the exercise their hockey brain has gone through. Yeah. I don't like hearing this, by the way, that he's been hit a lot as a small player. I don't like it. I loved him at development camp. I went to watch him live. I loved him. I heard great things about him for the last 5 years, 6 years. When my buddy Chris Nyland had actually seen him playing in a Pee Wee tournament, came back to me and said, I saw this hockey player this weekend. He's unbelievable. This guy's going to be in the NHL for sure. His name is LJ Mooney. This is a conversation that goes back 5 or 6 years. I loved him at development camp. The skills were eye-opening for sure. I don't like hearing that he was hit often.
What if I tell you, Tony, the same reason that made him slip is also the reason why the Canadiens loved him? Because why does he get hit so often? Because he goes in traffic all the time. He goes to the art areas all the time. He's freaking fearless. He hits players, even though he's 5'7". And that's why LJ Mooney might play in the NHL as well. And I asked Marty Lapointe, I'm like, hey, so he gets hit a lot for a smaller player. Like, are you not going to tell him, hey, you don't need to go in traffic like all the time? Like, it's nice that you go into traffic a lot, but you don't need to take a hit every time you make a play, right? And Marty Lapointe basically told me, like, how the hell do I tell him this? Like, I'm not going to be the one to tell him this, because it's so hard to get a player to do it, that I'd rather have a player that's on the extreme. So that's not going to happen, and they're going to live with it.
He's got Gallagher's character, basically. Right?
Gallagher, he does.
You tell him to change his game, he's not. And so many people thought that Gallagher was done, actually, a couple of years ago. After myself, I watched a couple of games, and I said to myself, oh, my God, is this it? And then he surprised everyone by coming back and scoring, near 20 goals. And so this is nice to hear in a way, for sure. Well, actually, during the draft, we saw some video footage, and there's a highlight that came up often. He tagged Frundell at one point. It was him who was doing the hitting, and he hit him hard for a small guy, and Frundell's a big guy. Frundell went down like a sack of potatoes.
Tony, he does not give a crap that he's 5'7". Like a reporter asked him at the dev camp, do you have some medical information that would indicate you're going to grow like a couple of inches? He's like, it doesn't matter. I don't care. Like the guy doesn't care that he's 5'7", and he plays like he's not 5'7". So for him, it's just all an anecdote.
Can we agree, though, you and I'd love to get your opinion on this, that, okay, the NHL is a copycat league. It's true. It's also true, though, that you need a certain type of team to actually make it to the playoffs, and then you probably need another kind of team to actually make it through the playoffs. I saw a stat that was very surprising, by the way. I think the Canadiens were like top 7 or 8 in the league for actually hits. But maybe some will say, well, if they don't have the puck, that's probably why they're hitting. But can we agree, though, that there obviously is room for small players in the National Hockey League? Cole Caulfield's an exceptional scorer, and Lane Hansen is just a fantastic player. So they've proved to us, and there have been others as well. But there has to be probably a quota on a team. You can't have too many. Can we agree on that?
Well, you saw the first round, right?
Yeah.
And I would say not only the Habs, but the Rocket got pummeled as well.
Yes.
In the AHL playoffs.
Versus the Charlotte Checkers, yes.
Yeah, they did. Hockey's a physical sport, okay? So they're going to have to add size to that group. It's obvious. But they did also draft bigger, lanky players that are going to fill out and that are very promising as well. So when these players do fill out, and if they do develop well and come into the Habs lineup, well, maybe it's not as much as an issue. Maybe they have that nastiness in their lineup. There's
something that I thought was pretty cool and intriguing that I read, which was while these scouting meetings were going on prior to the draft, and Mooney's name came up, they asked Vinny Lecavalier, Vinny, did you like playing against or hate playing against guys that are small, like 5'7", 5'8"? And I think Vinny said that he didn't enjoy playing against those guys because of their elusiveness, because of their hockey brain, because of the fact that they're slippery, they're hard to hit, stuff like that. Now,
so the actual quote, and that's what Marty told me, is that Marty asked Vinny Lecavalier, like, so would you rather play against a player that is 5'10" or 5'11", or play against a player that's 5'7"? And he's like, 5'7". 5'7" all the way. 5'7" is harder to play against than 5'10" or 5'11". So at this point, if you're gonna be small, maybe be that small. I guess if you're gonna have that low center of gravity, if you're gonna be so slippery and hard to hit, so that's a player that could be really tough for teams to counter. Just because he's gonna be so low on the ice and he's gonna be so quick. Good luck. If he has character as well and he plays hard, good luck.
Mind you, there's a couple of 5'11" guys in the National Hockey League. One is Sidney Crosby. One is Nick Suzuki.
I think they're good. Yeah,
I wouldn't want to play against them. All right, okay. So you talked about Zharovsky. You talked about the Russian factor, the huge advantage the Montreal Canadiens have. You just talked about LJ Mooney. Other names came up in that conversation you had with Martin Lapointe. I think we talked about Vinzenz Rohrer.
Vinzenz Rohrer, yeah. I asked him, like, because as you know, the Habs have a lot of prospects, right, Tony?
Yeah.
You have a 50 contract limit, and they did trade up. They did trade up twice in the last draft, and they traded 2 of their first-round picks. So my question was, are you at a point where you're going to be trading up more than trading down because you have so many of these prospects already? And he was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. You're right. We're at the point where there's only 50 contracts, and you have that much talent in the pipeline. So you can target players a little more, and that's pretty much what they're going to do in the next draft, I believe. So the other angle was, who are these prospects that make that pipeline so crowded? One of them was Konyushkov, who we saw at the dev camp for the first time.
Yes.
He has to adjust to smaller ice because Torpedo they still don't play on North American ice. Like
Yeah.
some teams in Russia do now, but not Torpedo yet.
He's intriguing, though. Bogdan has something. He's intriguing.
He's intriguing, but funny enough, when I talked to Marty about Konushkov, right away he talked about Mittelstadt. He was like, "Oh yeah, Konushkov. Well, yeah, he had good chemistry with Mittelstadt, didn't he?" He really wanted to talk about Luke Mittelstadt, who is a 7th round pick for the Habs, but the organization loves him. They wanted to sign him after his last season in the NCAA, but he wanted to play a 4th year in Minnesota. But they see him as a very no-nonsense player that always makes the right decision on the ice. So certainly a name to follow for me, Tony.
Yeah.
Luke Mittelstadt.
Yeah.
And the other one would be Vinzenz Rohrer. Rohrer, I get the feel, he's a guy that Martin Lapointe wants to see succeed. You know, Martin Lapointe was an hard-nosed player. He has a lot of respect for feisty player. Vinzenz Rohrer is on the smaller side. He's 5'11", but he plays like a bulldog on the ice. He's always on the forecheck. He's always on the hunt. He's always around the net in the hard areas. The only thing will be, and Martin Lapointe told me about this, he doesn't know if it's going to work in the NHL at the NHL level because, well, if he's in the middle of the ice so often enough, will he be able to move bodies at his size? So we're not going to have that answer before he plays in the NHL. But if he makes it, it's because of that feistiness. And Martin Lapointe, he wants that guy to succeed. And when I asked him about which Habs prospect is underrated, he mentioned Vinzenz Rohrer. So he's going to be at the Habs training camp because he just signed his entry level this summer. Vinzenz Rohrer is a name I would follow. Tony.
And what can you tell me about Luke Mittelstadt?
Yeah, Luke Mittelstadt. Bob Motzko actually talked to my colleague Kevin Tibi from the Journal in November, and he was saying already, this is a guy that could play in the NHL, guys. Like, watch out. Like, he can play at the game. He does not make mistakes. And you know what? This is so interesting because all these prospects at some point in their career, in the junior, they were the best player on the ice all the time, and they were offensive players. But Luke Mittelstadt is the guy that understood pretty quickly that if he wants to have success at the next level, he has to adjust and he has to adapt his game. So he became, throughout the last years, a very, very efficient, modern defensive defenseman. So he has a really projectable game. So, and the only reason, and I'm going to repeat, Tony, the only reason he hasn't signed with the Habs yet is because he wants to play that last year. And he already confirmed to the Habs that he's going to sign with them after he plays that 4th year. So Luke Mittelstadt, I wouldn't write him off so fast just because he's a 7th round pick.
And by the way, in case you're wondering, yes, he is the younger brother of Casey Mittelstadt, who plays in the National Hockey League. And Bob Motzko is the coach at the University of Minnesota, which is a team that plays in the Big Ten, and which is where Luke Mittelstadt plays and has played for the last 3 seasons.
Yep. Exactly.
Fantastic. Okay. You wrote another piece, and it's on Joe Valeno. I talked about him yesterday because yesterday I reported that contrary to reports, the Montreal Canadiens never made, I can tell you that with certainty, a formal offer to Joe Valeno. Valeno's representation last week talked to at least 3 teams that I am aware of: Colorado, Nashville, and Montreal. All 3 basically were in discussions with their staff to see, are we going to go ahead, yes or no? The Canadiens basically studied Valeno's game to see if it fit into what they were missing. They're missing a centerman who can, obviously a left-handed centerman who can maybe replace what Christian Dvorak brought to the team and win faceoffs with regularity. A player who's tough to play against, a player who could be a very, very effective penalty killer. And after reviewing, they came to the conclusion that Joe Valeno was not a fit for them. It'll be curious to see, by the way, if some teams will circle back on Valeno, because you would think his representation obviously is looking for a one-way deal. If they would, at one point, if it got to the point where there's a 2-way deal, I'm sure that there would be a lot of interest. And if it even got to the point where even that wasn't available and, this player was available come September, I mean, I'm sure a lot of teams would be more than happy to offer a PTO to see, what his hunger level is like. But there's going to be some teams that are intrigued. I mean, he's a 6'1" centerman. He's 25 years old. We know that there's talent there. We know that he's a good young man. Let me bring up your article in a second. Let's just bring it up here.
Yeah.
That you wrote about. Sur Joe Valeno et l'importance non négligeable pour le CH d'avoir au moins un centre gaucher dans sa formation. You wrote a piece and you said on the fact that the Canadiens absolutely need a left-handed centerman in their lineup. Your thoughts on the fact that the Montreal Canadiens have decided to pass on Joe Valeno? What do you think?
Well, I can certainly see why they had interest and they studied Joe Valeno's game, because without Dvorak, the only player in the Habs lineup right now that did play center last year is Alex Newhook. That is a lefty, a left-handed centerman. And that's a problem for matchups for Martin Saint-Louis, because so what's interesting in the NHL, so the centers, they have a strong side and a weak side in the face-off circle. So a lefty will want to take face-off on the left side because they use their back end more and the linesman is not as much in the way. So when a lefty is taking a face-off on the left side and they're against another lefty, well, that lefty will be on his weak side. And that's a huge advantage in terms of matchup. So when Martin Saint-Louis has the matchup advantage and he's playing at home and he has the last change, that's something he can actually exploit. So the only guy that he can send out there that is a lefty right now to take faceoffs is Alex Newhook. And Alex Newhook he's a good player, but he's not great at faceoffs, Tony.
No.
Joe Valeno, he's an interesting player as well. He's a very heady player. He has some skills, and I think he has some untapped potential in the NHL. But the thing is, he's better than Newhook at faceoffs, but he's not great at faceoffs either. So this is a problem for the Canadiens that they did not address yet. I thought they might address it with Valeno, but I can understand why they're looking another way. But I do feel they're at least gonna try to have a left-handed centerman, because that's a pretty big hole in their lineup for next season. And I'm not sure Martin Saint-Louis would be too happy to start the season with only Alex Newhook as a left-handed centerman, especially when Alex Newhook is not really a natural center at the NHL level.
Is there a name that you're thinking about?
Honestly, when you look at the market, it's so dry right now, and the prices for these centermen, you're looking at marginal players that play at center, and they got significant contract, like guys like Noah Cates or McBain. So the prices are so high in the market right now, and the UFA market is so dry that I wouldn't want to be confused. And that's why I totally understood why they were looking at Valeno, because it made sense. He wouldn't cost too much. But again, they might look at a player that is better at the face-off circle. Like, to be quite honest with you, Tony, it's a problem. I don't know how they solve that problem, because I didn't have another name in mind other than Joe Valeno.
Fantastic. Well, we'll continue to monitor that situation. We'll see what comes up. Nick Cloutier taking time from the chalet on his vacation. Thanks very much for doing this, man. I appreciate taking the time.
Hey, thank you, Tony. It's my pleasure.
All right. I promised you former Montreal Canadiens goaltender Zach Fucale, who played in the KHL this past season. We have him. Zach, how are you?
Yeah, it's quite the intro, Tony. That's one of the first times you ever said that. I don't think I can be qualified as an actual ex-goaltender for the team, since I never really played a game, but it's one of the first times you introed me like that.
Who are you drafted by?
It's true, the Montreal Canadiens. Yeah.
So you'll always be a Montreal Canadian, Zach.
There you go. All right, I can go with that. I'm well. How about you?
Good. It's nice to see you back in town, of course, and every time you do come back to town, of course, we know that you have your 3-on-3 league that you spearhead, along with your partners, Living Sisu, which takes place at Hockey, etc. You have a women's league and you have a guys league, and you've announced this MYM Showdown, which is going to take place on Saturday, July 12th.
Yes, sir.
And it says experience the most electric night of the summer with Ivan Demidov and Swaggy P on the ice, a shootout-only event.
That's right.
Featuring elite players, influencers, and unreal creativity. Ticket includes access to the U13, M15, and Opens finals. It's going to be at the arena for Blainville, Boisbriand, the Armada, of course.
Saint Excellence, yeah.
I love this idea. Zach, how did this come about?
So first of all, the Showdown is something we've added to a tournament that's been going on for 9 years, Make Your Move. It's a shootout-based tournament. It's been going on for 9 years now. Okay, I was playing in it for 6-7 years in a row, and I kept telling Olivier, my partner, I want to be involved. I want to help. I want to be involved. And this is the first year I'm really involved in. By the way, sorry for this. I am at Hockey Etc. in a lot.
Don't worry about it. Say hello to everyone at Hockey Etc. for me.
So Make Your Move has just become a monster. This weekend, we're going to have about 600 players from M13, M15, M18, as well as open and adult categories participating in the tournament. So we have all these categories. And then we said we got to add a little X factor to that. And here comes the Showdown. Construction Groupe Signature, which is the main sponsor kind of qui propulse l'événement. And so it's going to be awesome, man. Like, I'm also excited to announce right here with you that Coach Chippy is also going to be part of the Showdown, which is a very well-known person online hockey-wise. So it's going to be an awesome show. We're going to put a lot of electric moves out there, and it's going to be fun for people that will attend.
You know what? You figured out the secret to the caramel bar. You got to get influencers involved because social media is such a big part of spreading the news and media nowadays. And I think you got a right formula here. And you know what, Zach, you talked about the X factor. Ever since Ivan Demidov landed in Montreal and played his first game for the Canadiens versus the Chicago Blackhawks, there's been a huge buzz around Demidov in the city. He has that it factor that not everyone has. Talk to me about getting Demidov involved. Zach, I don't hear you.
I muted myself for you.
All right, okay. It's okay.
What a mess I am.
We'll edit it all out. Okay, let me just start back. All right, okay. Zach, you know, you talked about an X factor. And one of them is obviously it's Ivan Demidov. Talk to me about him and how you got him involved.
So I kind of went about very naturally because at first I didn't really think it would be, possible whether he was going to train in the city or not. And, we got acquainted over some weeks, playing against in the KHL. And then we share the same agent. And then all of a sudden, Make Your Move, our biggest sponsor, not sponsor, but partner to create the event was Warrior Hockey. And Ivan has a new affiliation with them. And it was just a natural fit where he was new in the city, was staying to train, and Warrior, he became the newest, member of their family. And so being part of a Warrior event was kind of natural for him. So I asked him, I said, hey, would you like to come on and do some shootouts and have some fun and make a show with the people, with Swaggy and there's going to be Bill Zahn in there. There's going to be some good goaltenders there. So it's going to be fun. And he said, you know what? It's right up my alley. Let's do it. So he agreed right away, and so it's good because he's got that affiliation with Warrior as well.
When you played against him, you saw a few things. You talked to me about him and some of his skills. Now you've had a chance to talk to him personally. A lot of Canadiens fans obviously have fallen in love with this guy, and every report that you hear from anyone who's seen him play says he has all the makings to be a potential superstar. We saw some of the things that he did when he arrived here. You can't do those things by fluke. Obviously, Exactly. This guy has a gift. After talking to him, what can you tell us?
I mean, like you said, I agree with you. Like at this point, coming in hot like that, like it's not luck anymore. You know what I mean? It's not just a fluke. And so he has all the tools, and it's just going to be about the group around him, showing him the ropes properly, and he's a smart guy, and I think the decision to stay in Montreal and get acquainted with the city and the training and the staff and everything, that was a good decision, and he's going to be ready. So he's smart, he's making good decisions, and it's difficult not to root for a guy like that. After spending a little time with him, I'm on his corner, if I can say that.
His personality. Everyone sees what he does on the ice, but the personality, it takes a special person to play in Montreal, and it takes a special person to actually take off and become a star in Montreal.
Of course.
His personality, how do you feel about it?
I think time will tell, but his personality looks like he embraces all this stuff. I think we talked about this before, you and I, Tony. The new generation of kids coming into the league, they're born with a camera in their face basically their whole career. And so I feel like now it's part of how they play the game. And And I think he's going to embrace it. And I like the whole fit like you're talking about.
All right, so he's going to go out there and he's going to participate in this shootout, right?
Yep.
You're going to be part of
Il va nous en mettre plein la vue, I think.
Okay, you're going to be part of this shootout?
I don't think I'm going to be on the ice, but I don't think I'll have my gear. I'm just trying to make sure everything works smoothly.
Okay, perfect. Who's he going to be going up against, for example? Like, he's going to be in a special category?
Yep. So he's going to be going up against the good goaltender. So there's going to be two aspects to the showdown. The first aspect is going to be a freestyle where we're going to have Fucale, all types of people going in the net to go against the headliners. The freestyle part of the shootout is just going to be, who will have the best moves possible. And so the fans are going to be voting with their cheers. And then the second part of the showdown is going to be a full-blown, actual competition of who can score, against top goalies. So we have some top goaltenders that will be part of the showdown to face these guys. Ev Gascon's going to be there. Beckman had a fantastic season in the QMJHL. And there's a couple extra people that will be going as well that I'm not going to give away the whole thing right away, but there's going to be some top competition for them. And so the second part of that is going to be first to 5 goals. And that's going to be who can put the puck in the net and who's going to be crowned the actual champion of shootouts. So there's two aspects, like I said, the freestyle where it's going to be nice moves and, who can kind of one up each other. And then the second aspect will be, who can put the puck in the net and really be crowned the top champion.
So I realize you can't give away all the details and all the names who are going to be there, but already starting off with Ivan Demidov and some of the names that you mentioned is going to be interesting. Zach, in ending, I'll let you go. I know you're busy. Tell me, how can people get their tickets?
So first of all, on livingsisu.com, that's where you'll find everything from the 3-on-3 LSHL League to the Showdown to Make Your Move. Unfortunately, the registration for the actual tournament is closed. Like I said, we were going to have over 600 players, so that's going to be an awesome day. But for the Showdown, it starts at 6 p.m. on Saturday, and you can get your tickets right on livingsisu.com, and you scroll down to Make Your Move and the Showdown, and you'll see all the details are there. So we hope that people will see these people that are not always in Montreal, like Swaggy P, Coach Chippy, see these guys' skills on ice. It's going to be a good time.
Zach Fucale, all the best to you, your tournament, and the 3-on-3 Saturday. Once again, where the Armada play, Blainville, Boisbriand. It's going to be Make Your Move, over 600 participants and influencers. It's going to be creative. It's going to be a lot of fun. It sounds like one of those great family events.
Yes,
you bring out,
absolutely.
and the kids are going to be able to cheer on so many, including Montreal Canadiens, Ivan Demidov. Thank you, Zach Fucale.
Thanks so much.
All right, there you have it. Special thanks to our sponsors, Betway, Bittt, Tibi, Playground, Energy Transportation Group. Special thanks to all of them. If you like the podcast tonight, leave us a 5-star review. It's our way of feeling the love. For Juliana Cavallaro at Master Controls, the Sick Podcast, I'm Marinaro.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. La Vida TB, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.